So welcome again to the September 3rd BHSSA Grantee Quarterly Collaboration Meeting. I welcome you to have your view in gallery so that you don't just see my big head the entire time on your screen. This meeting is recorded, so we welcome you to, of course, we want to share and have voice as much as possible. And if you're not someone who likes to have your voice recorded and sent out, we also warmly invite you to share in chat, and we respect that too. If you are just joining us, we welcome you to share your name, where you are, and a piece of this long weekend that you're holding on for sustenance. And if you see someone else, a colleague that you know or don't know, who's holding on to something that you are just like, yes, hold on to that, never let it go. Feel free to, oh my gosh, saw bioluminescence. Like, I want that. Yes. Okay. So feel free to chat with each other and kind of let it feel like a living room welcome into our quarterly grantee meeting. It's good to be together. Okay, our theme for today is data-driven storytelling. And so we start us off with this quote, "Stories tell us of what we already knew and remind us of what we haven't yet imagined." And I want to welcome us with the spirit of that quote from Anne Watson to really think about how might this conversation today, how might our learning today give us new words to affirm the skills and the work that we feel really strongly good about. Yes, I'm doing the right thing. And then also open us into ways of approaching this really complicated, complex work, potentially in a different way. So welcome to everyone. I'm catching in the chat, if you're just joining us, I'm catching really beautiful shares to the prompt of what you're holding on to from this long weekend. And just want to congratulate folks who graduated with new letters after their name in the chat. Those are really, really important, important moments. Congratulations. Okay. So here's what today might feel like. Nikki, our dear Nikki and Stephen, Nikki is our senior program manager and Stephen is our distance learning manager, and they are here today for tech hosts. If you have any needs whatsoever, please ping them. Nikki's going to drop the PDF of today's agenda into the chat. And today we'll start with, of course, a welcome. We'll move into a community connector themed around data-driven storytelling so that we get to know each other, we get to know ourselves in a new way. And then we will have a mini workshop led by Tehama, one of our technical coaching teams. Again, the theme is data-driven storytelling. Just like in June, if you were with us with Placer County and their incredible teach-in on the interconnected systems framework. So just like that pattern, Tehama will start with a main room teach-in, and then you'll have options to choose your own adventure of breakout rooms to deeper dive into different aspects of data-driven storytelling. We'll come back together, we'll share out, we'll process. And then we have a special section today led by our partners at West Ed. You saw in both communications from the CVH and also from us at Stack that there's an evaluation phase 2 of our work. So we get to really embody data-driven storytelling in our own stories of why this work is important. And then we'll close with some announcements, looking ahead, and a time for us to share how today felt. So that will be our flow for today. Thank you, Nikki just dropped the agenda in the chat. And I'm going to welcome Nikki to also drop the PDF of the whole deck. If you are someone who likes to have it downloaded and follow along at your own leisure or leisure, however you pronounce that word, I never know. Okay. Cool. So if you are new to us, we are the BHSSA Stack. I'm going to say this probably a couple times because we're still only in our first 7-8 months of existence, but we were launched in January to be the coordinator for all the technical assistance for you as BHSSA grantees, and we work in partnership with the California School-Based Health Alliance. So big smiles to Amy Blackshaw and the CSHA team. We love a CSHA, and we're grateful, of course, to the Commission for Behavioral Health for holding us all in this work accountable to really, really a good vision for what a partnership between school mental health and behavioral health and education can all look like. So that said, There are many different folks in the room from many different intersections of BHSSA. So we're going to do a little bit of a fun roll call to see who is in the room. And if you are someone who you're like, I think I'm here and I have no idea why I'm here, that's also okay too. We'll find out. We'll find out together. Okay, so we're going to do a first roll call in chat. Let's put a star, the symbol of a star, if you are a phase 1 through 2 grantee. So you'll see just 1 through 2, if you can just put a star. So that is, yep, okay, cool. Amador, Calaveras, Contra Costa, Fresno. Just do a whole, let's get who, oh, Eugenio got fancy. Okay, nice. So you are phases 1 through 2, and you are either grantees who might be sunsetting your work, or you are folks who are moving your work from phase 1, 2 into phase 4. So welcome, welcome. Love the emoji. I'm going to invite you, if you are phase 3 grantee, to put a hashtag in the chat. Put a hashtag in the chat if you are phase 3 grantee. So again, that means that you are either sunsetting or thinking about extending your work from phase 3 into phase 4. Let's see who's a phase 3 in the house. Okay. Nice. Yeah, some of you are both. You're stars and hashtags. And full human beings. Great. Love. Okay. Welcome, welcome. If you are a phase 4 grantee, so you're a county who is taking an idea, a concept, a seedling, or a really good thing from your phase 1, 2, or 3 work, and you're moving it into phase 4, and that should actually be called category 1 is at promise youth. Category 2, universal screening, category 3, sustainability, and category 4, other, which means your proposal was so good, couldn't say no, had to create a whole other category for it. If you are a category 4 grant, let's put the number 4 in the chat so we can just see who is in sunrise mode. Yes, cool. Nice. Welcome, welcome. Okay. I'm going to invite the last round of our community roll call as our TCTs. They are 3 counties holding 4 streams of technical assistance: Tehama, data collection; Placer, program implementation; and Imperial, partnership development and sustainability. Can you all just give a wave so we can give visual waves? Yes, and we'll get to hear from them much deeper in a moment, but thank you. I just want to share, if you are new, if you're a BHSSA team member and you're new, I want to offer that the beauty of the design of this TA, what am I trying to say? TA constellation is that you've got counties who are alongside doing this work with you, literally rolling up their sleeves and are here to support the work. There are other faces in the room today that you may or may not recognize, and that's because STAC also has a steering committee of folks that we really lean on and trust to learn with and learn from. And so if you're in the steering committee, feel free to share in chat who you are and what you do so that folks also know that we can tap in, they can tap into you for support. Okay. That was a big breath. So again, if you're just joining us, we're just getting through our opening and our welcome. We're going to move really straight into our community connectors. And there is a quote that we're grounding with by Andy Goodeve, because today's theme is about data-driven storytelling. And this quote I'm going to read it out loud, and I'm also going to invite Nikki to drop the PDF of this whole deck one more time in the chat so that we have it. I'll read it out loud, and then we're going to move into random groups of, well, you're not random, but the grouping is random, of 2 to 3 folks, and to simply share what resonates with you and what rings true. So I'm going to offer it out loud first, and then we'll move into connecting. Data should serve as a powerful flashlight, illuminating areas that need attention, helping us ask better questions, not rushing us to faster, often incomplete conclusions. As leaders, we set the tone. If we start every discussion with the spreadsheet, others will follow suit, prioritizing numbers over narratives. How many times have we been in meetings like that? How many times have we led meetings like that? Me, yes. But if we start with curiosity, what's really going on here? What might this child be carrying? What support does this teacher truly need? We create space for insight, not just intervention. We foster a culture where empathy is not just a weakness, but a strategic asset. We still need the data. It provides the initial signal and the direction for our inquiry, but it should follow the story, not replace it. So in a moment, Stephen will open the breakout rooms, and you'll be in groups of 2, 3. We welcome you to introduce yourselves and to share what resonates and rings true. And thank you, Nikki, for putting the quote in the chat. And we'll be coming back in 9 minutes. 9 minutes. So whatever 14 plus 9 is, someone will put it in the chat, and we'll be coming back. If you do not want to go into a breakout, please stay in the main room. If you're alone in your breakout, give us a moment and we'll rearrange. Okay? All right, Stephen, feel free to launch. So welcome back everyone into the main room. I want to invite you to thank your conversation partner for your speed date. Some of you probably felt like that was super speedy in the chat, and also share a glimmer or a gleam of what came up for you when you read this quote, what resonated, what rings true. And as we transition from the discussion of this text and then into our teach-in, I am going to invite you to find one cut or one snapshot of this quote and put it in the chat that you want to hold on to and linger. So just like we were thinking about what we want from this past long weekend to linger with us, what do we want from this text or this quote to stay with us? So I was sharing in the main room this sentence of, we create space for insight, not just intervention, is what I want to hold on. And Lauren is saying, if we start with curiosity, we still need the data. As leaders, we set the tone. What's really going on here? You could say that with a lot of different tones. What's really going on here? Yeah. What support does this teacher truly need? If we start with curiosity, we create space for insight. Yeah. The flashlight illuminates areas of need. Data is not just numbers, it's a narrative. It should follow the story, not replace it. These are beautiful. Thank you. Well, a beautiful and necessary transition from this and into our colleagues at Tehama. I'm really grateful that Janelle and Sarah have really identified data-driven storytelling as our theme for today, for September 3rd, for the start of a big month in a big time and a big season. And they're gonna lead us into how can we take those gems from this quote and into real life practice, and give us more ways for us to bring this home. So I'm gonna hand it to Janelle and Sarah.
Thank you, Leora. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sarah Smith. I am one of the assistant superintendents at the Tehama County Department of Education, a school psychologist by trade, and I have my director of school-based mental health and wellness with me here, Janelle Amaker. And we are delighted to be able to share in the next 20 minutes and then within the 30 minutes of our breakout sessions with you about telling our story. So we're going to take you on a quick little shift and journey regarding our BHSSA work. I came to the county office 6 years ago, and spending all of my previous career at a district, practicing as a district. And when I got here, one of the things I recognized very quickly was there was some gaps across our county, and started through a lot of navigating and partnership and working within our county community partners of what are those gaps, and then kind of poised us And so I want to just take a shout out to the commission because it really was the original cohort 1 MHSSA grant that launched us and allowed us to create this beautiful program that we have that serves our county. So with that, I'm going to share a story. Small moments, big impact. In Tehama County, these small moments matter deeply. Families here face challenges that can feel daunting. 19.3% of children live in poverty, compared to 12% nationwide. Only 36% of students meet grade level reading standards, compared to 49% statewide. The substantiated child abuse rate is 10.4 per 1,000 children, higher than the California average of 6.6. 1 in 6 mothers experiences postpartum depression compared to the state average and 1 in 12. We are 7 times more likely to be a victim of violent crime if you live in Tehama County than anywhere else in the state of California. Programs that make a difference. The numbers showcased above are why programs like the Tehama County Department of Ed school-based mental health program are so valuable. We offer programs and training opportunities, including youth mental health first aid, triple P parenting, trauma-informed practices in the classroom, and question, persuade, refer. In the 5 years since implementation of the school-based mental health and wellness team, our program has impacted the lives of more than 1,041 students. 169 parents have participated in our trainings. We've provided and lifted the expertise around trauma-informed cognitive behavioral health to 58 practitioners in our schools and through our community partners. The numbers showcased above show why programs like Triple P are so valuable. With just 2 hours a week for 8 weeks, parents gain practical tools to navigate stress, encourage positive behavior, and build strong connections. These small steps prepare families not only for today, but the years ahead. I'm going to tell you a story of Claudia. At 32, she was raising 3 children alone and worried about her three-year-old son's development. While his screening results showed delays, he did not qualify for any specialized services. Through our referral network, Claudia joined our Triple P classes. Week by week, she practiced new strategies, staying calm, offering words, and redirecting his energy. After completing our program, Claudia reflected, I learned to stay calm, help my son use his words, and redirect his energy. I feel I am a better parent now. Our program enables us to work directly with our parents, our students, staff, and preschool-age children to provide practical tools for navigating stress, promoting positive behavior, and fostering strong connections. These small steps prepare families not only for today, but for the years ahead. When numbers feel overwhelming, the importance of small, supportive actions become even clearer. This truth is especially evident in rural communities where connection is the fabric of our daily life. Please take a moment to visit our website today to learn more and sign up for any of our upcoming classes. So as we end that story, I just want you to take a moment and think. It's really important for our stories to be purposeful, to communicate our data, and really linking those hearts and minds. And so you're going to hear that kind of woven in throughout our time together today. When you think about our program, we we started a program called the Thrive Center. So all of those services that I just talked about, we had a vision, right? A vision of where this was going to go. And we created a center and we knew we couldn't do it on our own. We valued our partnerships in our county office, but also across our county. And so what we did is we brought all of our mental health providers under one roof. And we recognized very quickly that our stories were staying, and I heard someone mention that earlier, in silos, right? Even within our organization, even with our partners directly across the hall. And so we made a move and we shifted those folks under one roof. And I will say we kind of created before a I always say this to the wellness coach folks too. Before wellness coaches, we had wellness and behavioral intervention technicians, and we just started rocking it. And so we moved into our program offerings. And although we still, and I know this from the work that you all do, at times it's not easy to create space. It's really important, and we have seen exponentially differences in how we do that together as a county office. Excuse me, sorry about that. And we did that through our why. Our why, we wove in, when you look at the tenets of our work and our grant work, and we look at how our program implementation, we knew that we believed in mental health and behavioral supports. We knew our students were getting a lot in their schools, but we also were hearing the messaging from our partners in our LEAs that when they reached their max and their toolbox was empty and all of the things they were doing, they were looking for another tier of service and support. We took it as our responsibility, but we also knew we couldn't do it alone, that we would have to continue to cultivate relationships. We had, honestly, we had been working to mend our relationship with our local county behavioral health for many, many moons ago, and really leaned into what being an active member and that reciprocal relationship did for not just our partnership building, but also to create sustainability, as we knew eventually grants go away and we wanted to be able to continue that work, and we knew we would need it to do it as a whole for our county. We'd have to do it together. We also recognize that you can't just do it without data, right? And data can be used in a lot of different ways with a lot of different ears. And so one of the things that we really decided to do is to take that information that we heard and create a system of support.
So our data collection practices really were a happy accident from all those relationships that we were trying to create. And there's a story behind our story data collection. And we started out very basic, very transactional. We took our model, put it in writing. We had to be thoughtful about the words that we were using so non-mental health professionals could access it. But it was kind of flat. Again, transactional. Here's what we can do for you. And then in our early days, we were really just, collecting numbers, which you never want to reduce a student to a number. And you can see here, it doesn't tell much of a story about what we were actually doing within our community. So we knew that we needed to wise up and actually get some impact data. And so we started introducing satisfaction surveys when students were finishing their services. And this went to students, parents, and teachers, because we really wanted to be very clear about that connection, that once we introduced a mental health support, that you would see ripple effects in their home, in their school, and within their personal life. So being able to give them a chance to identify what that was huge for our program. And another great thing that came out of this, the exit surveys, is that we were actually able to use those for PD opportunities. So if we're getting ratings that students didn't feel like they were involved in their treatment plan, that's something that we need to coach our practitioners on. If they weren't sure what confidentiality meant, then that's something that we need to make sure that our people are explaining very clearly. So it ended up being a very robust tool that I'm so glad that we continue to use. Then we also need to make sure that we're staying relevant. Just because we have this great idea of the services that we think a school needs, we have 33 schools in our county that we serve, and all of their needs are so unique. So each year we give the schools an opportunity to provide us feedback with what types of services they think are best suited for their campus and their student population. And we use this every spring to kind of reformat and revisit what is on our service menu, what are we training our practitioners to do, and it gives us so much feedback and insight to what when we're building our calendars in the fall. It helps us make financial decisions, it helps us with personnel decisions. And so meeting with the schools, if they want individually in the spring, sets us all up for success in the fall. And then, oh, Sarah, sorry. Oh, Sarah, you're muted.
in the beginning, we went through like who's in the room. And so although many of us are here from cohort 1, many of us are also new and embarking on this. And so as you think about the data and the data you're collecting, it's really important to remember who needs to hear your story, right? Like who is your audience? And then also beyond that, what do you want them to know? How do you want them to feel? And then what do you want them to do? Like, what action do you want them to take? So just for a moment, I want to just think about, as a BHSSA grantee, who is your audience? And go ahead, we'll just do a chat waterfall and you can throw that in there. Who is your audience? I'm seeing staff, community, our local community, superintendents, governing boards, right? All of those, that collective, right? And so we really have to be great at telling the story to match our audience, because each of those is going to require potentially a little different messaging and how we create that message. Thank you, community partners, children's families.
Okay, so what do you see here? And you don't have to put it in the chat. We're just gonna do a quick exercise. What do you remember from what you just saw? And again, just an internal check that we're doing. And because you've been given no context, it can be really confusing when you're just presented with sets of letters and data sets with zero context to them. So you really do need to prime your audience with the context if you want them to retain the information that you are trying to give them. We've got a great format to do that.
So when you start building in your storytelling, right, one of the things that's important for you to know is like, what's going to make it memorable, right? Like, is it human connection, relatable experiences, those new perspectives, not just the facts, but images, right? The things that can take people on a journey that really concretize what it is you want them to remember. And then again, that call to action through your data storytelling. So from a framework, a good structure, especially if you're starting out in this work, but it's kind of the classic Western story structure, right? There's a beginning, a middle, an end, and then sort of this what's next, right? In relation to where you want to go, where you want to take your reader or your audience on this data journey, the classic Western story. We're going to have an opportunity and breakouts to kind of practice that as well. But it's really important when you think about how you're using those structures, especially if you're starting out and you're looking for a frame. This is a really great way to make sure you're hitting those key points. You're keeping that audience. Sometimes we can get away from what we want to go and really share. And so it really is a great way through this kind of classic Western story of keeping us grounded in how it used to be. Here's what happened and what's changed for us, excuse me, telling how we are, where we are right now, where we want it to go, and then kind of that, again, that call to action. So thinking about where we're going with our story through this classic story structure. And I never really thought about it that way. And so I love I know they just dropped the story data collector in the chat. And the framework of that really helps guide you when you're working on your messaging.
So how we do that in Tehama County is we have provided a tool for people to constantly put in stories. We call them bright spots because you can have this great format, you can have this great communication system, but if you're not harvesting the stories directly from the field, it's very difficult for people to remember even the most exciting of student milestones a year, a month later. So we call these bright spots, and we use them in a number of different ways. And a really quick, relevant way that we use them is we pop them in our quarterly reports to the commission, right there on that line of how is an example of success for your program. And you can tell in just the 25, 30 seconds that we're on this slide, you can glean so much more from what our program is doing in that 150 word story compared to the hundreds of data points behind it. That is also important information that we provide to the commission, but it doesn't really give the context of what we're doing with students. So when we collect the bright spots, they come in pretty raw. I don't expect the clinicians and wellness coaches to create the full story themselves, but they do need to give me the data and the context of what the milestone and success is. So that's their responsibility. And then I go through as an editor and I create a full narrative that follows that same sequence and just kind of give it a professional once over. And then to make sure that we go back real quick.
Sorry.
To make sure that when we're collecting these stories, we use the same idea that we do when we're documenting anything else when we work with students, is that we want to make sure it's accurate, we want to make sure it's sensitive, and that it's something that we would be confident reading right in front of the student that it's about. So it comes into the sheet de-identified. So I may not know exactly the student that I'm writing this story about, but I don't need to, and neither does the rest of the people that we're going to share the stories with. And you'll see on the tool that we use, it does have a share status on there. So if it's ready to go out. And then another way that we use these bright spots is we have weekly communications with our schools, and the very top part of our sheet, we pop in a bright spot that is from that school. The bottom half of the sheet is very clerical data. It's the services we provided the week before and when we're going to be there the next week. So it's very transactional data at the bottom, but this helps us stay relevant. We may not see school administrators every time we go on a campus. So it's really important that the people that are making decisions about the providers that come on their campus are very aware of what we are doing with their students.
I think that's really important as someone who's been on a campus. Sometimes when services are being provided, you may not ever get feedback of like, hey, we made a referral. Did so and so, are they still working through? Are they meeting with that counselor? And so this is a great way that we close that gap and provide that data to our LEAs when they were asking for that. All right. Janelle mentioned staying relevant. We recognize it is very important when you are working in a program that you keep your messages out there, that you share what you're doing, and we have created and kind of curated a way in which through our partnerships and program implementation that we do that through our media messaging. We do that through electronic, through virtual. We do that through our partnerships with through Kaibi and the Hakai, and just constantly being aware of how very important it is for us to make sure the folks that are helping support this work know the great work that we're doing in Tehama County and across our schools and our families. This is another great example of just staying relevant. The data, the work that you are doing in all of your programs and those that are sunsetting and those that are sunrising, it's critical that you get that data into the hands of those that can tell your story and really make sure that your programs you're shining those bright spots, you're shining the light on what you're doing. It's a way for you to create a messaging and sustainability practice so that when you go to before all of those different audiences that you guys talked about, you have resources that you can pull and that you can share that's really your data that's grounded in the great work that you guys are doing. All right. As we kind of wrap this component up, I'm going to just play an audio Again, just thinking about there's no greater storytelling, right, than when your families or your students that you're working with share your message, when they share the data through their experiences with you, the power of that. Stephen, can you play that for me? Thank you.
Oh yeah, we had it at the cue of where we wanted it to start, whomever rewound it.
Do it. Do it for your child. It's 100% worth it. And you're not alone in the journey. I think that we forget about that a lot, is that there are other people out there. And of course, you know, we're dealing with our situation day to day to day. And we, you know, we always want best for our children. And we always hope that we're going to be the ones to be able to do that. But I think that, like, more people, like, they always say it takes a village, right? And so, you know, this wellness program was a part of that village for me. And we want to be able to know that the village is there to help you. And I say 100% do it, and don't feel like you're alone in it, and know that you'll be a part of the process. And it's 100% worth it, to take that journey and to know that there are people who care about our children just about as much as we do and want to help them. And that's super important to know that, you know, there are people that do really want to help us as well as our children.
I mean, it gives me goosebumps. It doesn't really get better than that. It is why we do the work we do. It's why we keep showing up for kids and families and providing these great opportunities through the programs that we are allowed. And again, just the privilege is ours to be able to share our expertise and really collectively lift our communities in a greater way. So I thank you guys for your time. We are going to enter into our next phase, which is our breakout. So you'll have 4 opportunities, and I will shift this back to Leora.
Thank you, Sarah. Can we just do a pause moment to say thank you to Janelle and Sarah for putting together such a thoughtful and purposeful and thorough teach-in in 20 minutes, which is no small task. But thank you so much, both of you, for modeling how to both share and narrate and drive with numbers and story. Really appreciate your leadership and your peer technical coaching. And we have more opportunity to be in learning. So just like we've done before, in a moment, you'll be able to join breakout rooms. It'll just say room 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nikki's going to put the PDF of today's slide again in the chat box. And you'll notice that at the end of the deck, there are all the breakout rooms, materials, and prompts. So you have access to every room's materials, prompts that the TCTs are going to lead. In room 1, if you're new to storytelling, maybe you've never done it before, maybe you just need help a little bit workshopping and crafting your elevator pitch. You're what, so what, now what? So you can move into and choose room 1, and that will be with Placer County will be leading that. Room 2 is where we can play with matching and sharing best practices or challenges with matching data to your audience. Room 2 will be led by Janelle and Tina. And room 3, we're going to be talking about those bright spot practices that Janelle and Sarah shared. And Sarah and Denise will be having leading that room. And then last but not least, of course, our sustainability TCT. Imperial County will also be leading that connection between storytelling and sustainability. So you can choose 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to stay in the main room and not go into a breakout room, you're welcome. Or if you want to go into a breakout room and just listen in and learn, you're also welcome to do that. Breakout rooms will be coming back at 2:15 p.m. PT. So again, you'll be able in a moment. Stephen, can I just get a cue from you that we're ready to launch? Stephen or Nikki, can I get a cue from you?
Yes, we're ready to go.
Okay, cool. So you'll be able to move into rooms 1, 2, 3, 4. If you need help with materials, either the worksheet or the deck, stay back and we'll help you get what you need. Okay, we'll see you back at 2:15. Have a really good breakout space. Go. Stop talking, Leora. Go.
Services and prevention it's complex work. And the BHSSA evaluation is an opportunity to learn from your experiences and to tell the BHSSA story, which is so important as we consider that there's still a lot of work to be done to support the behavioral health and well-being of young people across California. So our goal today is to share next steps related to data collection. The next steps that we share with you during this call are also summarized in an individualized email that should have been sent earlier today to BHSSA grant contacts. We will also be sharing links throughout the presentation for your reference and asking that they be included in the follow-up email from this meeting. We recognize that there's a lot of information that we're sharing with you. Please reach out to us at any time along the way, either at bhssaeval@wested.org or directly to myself or Nicole. All right, so as I mentioned, today we will be focusing on the components of the evaluation that involve data collection, which are the survey and the case studies. We will review what these components of the evaluation involve and also explain next steps. As a reminder, the evaluation has 4 main components and has been designed to be comprehensive yet feasible. The contextual descriptive analysis or secondary data analysis listed at the top is underway and involves analyzing existing data sets to describe the broader California landscape in which the BHSSA has been implemented. Then we have the process and systems change evaluation, which includes the survey. And then finally, the last 2 components involve in-depth case studies of a subset of 10 grantees and schools. So again, today we're focusing on that case study and survey component. Thank you. This survey I keep mentioning is called the School Behavioral Health Systems Survey and has been designed specifically for the BHSSA evaluation. It focuses on BHSSA grant partnerships and core features of a school behavioral health system in which that continuum, or again, tiers of services and supports are implemented at the county and district or school levels. The survey sample will include key BHSSA partnership staff from all grantees and a subsample of individuals from funded, served, or supported districts and schools. So we used a random sampling process to identify a diverse and representative sample of 100 districts and a subset of 100 schools. What this means is that some grantees, but not all, will have districts and schools that were randomly sampled. So the goal is to have 1,000 respondents complete the survey from the grantee district and school levels. And Nicole's going to talk to you more about the help we need from you to reach out and invite those survey respondents. Slide. Thank you. In terms of what to expect when completing the survey, it takes approximately 15 to 30 minutes to complete. There are 4 sections, and respondents will complete different sections of the survey depending on their roles and the level of the school behavioral health system that they support. Everyone completes that first background information section, and then those familiar with the BHSSA partnership will be invited to complete the BHSSA partnership section. And from there, respondents are routed to either the school district or community level survey section. I also just want to note that the school district section is intended for individuals facilitating or serving on a team responsible for leading school behavioral health systems change. Those individuals do not necessarily need to be familiar or directly involved with the BHSSA grant. All right, so at this point, I'm going to hand it off to Nicole to talk more about next steps.
All right, thanks, Natalie. I'll talk quickly about a couple of things we're asking of you today, starting with a quick form. So to streamline data collection and minimize the number of emails that you get from us, we've created a form to gather the information we need to collect survey data. This step is critical because it ensures that we're collecting data from the people closest to the work. So, at a very, very high level, here's how survey recruitment and data collection work. First, we collect one nomination form from each grantee and then send unique survey links to those nominated on the form. Second, we collect one nomination form from each district in our sample and send unique survey links to those nominated on the district form. We're just focusing on grantee level and the district level today, so no need to think about anything beyond those first two steps. Okay, so we're going to give folks time to complete the nomination form with any colleagues from your grant team who are on the call. But before we send folks into breakout rooms to complete the form, I'm going to just walk you through it in a bit more detail. There are 3 things to remember. 1, each grantee will be asked to submit one form. So when you enter the breakout room, please determine who will be submitting the form. 2, the form asks you to nominate 4 to 10 key grant partnership staff implementing your BHSSA grant. This may include individuals who are familiar with the BHSSA partnership at county offices or districts, as well as other key BHSSA partners. And 3, if one of your BHSSA funded districts are in our random sample, we also ask that you provide contact information for an individual at the district or districts with knowledge of BHSSA partnerships and/or BHSSA funded activities and services. This person will be our point of contact for district data collection. The nomination form will tell you the names of the districts, and if you aren't directed to a district point of contact page, that means you don't have any districts in our sample. I want to just flag that there are a few grantees who are asked to provide school point of contact information if a school was selected who operates under the County Office of Ed. So before we send folks out to breakout rooms, I also want to put in a plug to say it would be very helpful if you could give folks that you nominate a heads up that they'll be hearing from us so they can keep an eye out for our email. We know that sometimes unknown emails can be flagged as suspicious, so we want to just make sure folks know it's safe to open our email. All right. So Nikki's created a breakout room for each grant team, and Laura put the nomination link in the chat, which will stay in your chat history after you join your breakout room. If you have questions, the WestEd team will be in the main room, so you can come back here and let us know you have a question and we can return to your room together. We'll have about 7 minutes in breakout rooms before we bring folks back to the main room. And remember that if you need more time after the breakout room closes, the person who's submitting the form can click on the link later and it'll take you back to where you left off. All right, so with that, Nikki, I think we are ready to
Yep, Steven is going to open rooms and you can pick your county and join. And again, if you're having trouble, please just drop your county name in the chat and we will help you get to your room.
Thanks, everyone. Grantees were selected to participate in a case study based on a random sampling process designed to ensure representation from diverse communities across the state. We considered funding phase, new and established partnerships, regions across the state, rural, urban, and suburban contexts, and grade spans of funded schools. Please check the email that we sent, which will notify you if you've been identified through this sampling process, and we'll schedule an informational call with the 10 selected grantees to map out next steps. So what comes next? 3 things. 1, check your email for the nomination form link and a summary of today's discussion. These emails went out only to BHSSA grant leads. So if you're a lead and you don't see an email from us, please let Laura know in the chat and she'll make sure we get that out to you after the call. And if you've been selected for a case study, you'll also receive a link to schedule that informational call. The second thing is that we'll be holding office hours to answer any questions that might come up. I'll share those dates in a minute. And 3, please help us spread the word. We have that info sheet that's been shared in the chat, and it would be great to disseminate that to your colleagues and partners to help us build momentum around the survey, and also to just make sure folks know that information coming from WestEd is safe to open. Of course, contact us at any time. I'll leave the office hours here. I believe Laura has put a registration link to register for those. Those are drop-in. You can come in at any time. We'll just be hanging out, so come with your questions. And to close, I just want to thank everyone on the call. This evaluation really is only possible because of your partnership. So we appreciate your time today, and we look forward to hearing from many of you in the coming days and weeks ahead. So at this point, I will hand it back to Leora.
Thank you, Natalie and Nicole and Laura and the whole WestEd team. And thank you all for being graceful and gracious with switching from teach-in moment and collaboration to a kind of management, thinking about how we can collectively tell our story. I just want to go back to what Sarah started with, which is that because of the BHSSA grant phase 1 through 3 that Tehama got, they were able to actually do the work that Sarah was then Sarah and Janelle were storytelling about. And so I just want to link the two. This is ways for WestEd to harvest your stories so that we continue to advocate for the importance of the work that we get to do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Y'all, we got 12 minutes. We're moving into announcement phase of our quarterly call. When I grew up at summer camp, very close to the Tuolumne County team's headquarters, we had a song about announcements that usually ended with a groan, but I'm not going to sing that song right now, and we're not going to groan. We're going to embrace the announcement portion of our time together. And I am going to hand it to Kai, who has some good announcements from CBH headquarters in Sacramento, reporting live from Sacramento. Kai. You have to unmute first. You can't unmute. Okay, Steven, can we help Kai unmute?
Yep, Kai should be able to now.
There we go. Thank you so much, Leora. Leora, you always make me laugh, and I appreciate how much joy you spread in the world. Thank you. This is just a really quick announcement. As many of you know, I assumed leadership of the BHSSA team, our fabulous team, back in April. And we've had some staffing changes. Most recently, our matriarch, and I laugh when I say that, although she would probably cringe, Cheryl Ward, who's been with BHSSA since 2019, since the very beginning, retired a month or two ago. And so we have some new staff. And thank you, Leora, for saying such gratitude to Cheryl for her leadership. I agree wholeheartedly. So we have some new staff that have joined the team that I'd like to introduce to you. Claire Sully, and there she is. Thank you. We get a visual on Claire. Hi, Claire. And Katina Walker. Thank you both. These women have many years of public service and bring so much expertise to our grant program. And they're going to be reaching out to Cheryl's grantees for a meet and greet. Claire has taken on the phase 1 grantees for Cheryl, and Katina is taking all of the 004 grants across the 4 categories. So you can expect to be hearing from them very soon. Thanks, Claire and Katina. And then, of course, we still have our senior grant monitors for BHSSA, Dan Owens, Nai Seichao, and Boyoung Fan. So just want to give a shout out to them. I know we're getting visuals on them as well. There's Dan, there's Nai, and Boyoung. So I just want to say thank you to all of you in being so understanding and supportive as we've navigated what's been kind of a major transition for this team. So thank you all, and I'm going to hand it back to Leora.
Well, thank you, Kai. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Boyoung. Thank you, Nai. Thank you, Katina. Thank you, Claire. We're so we are new. Many of you have been in long relationships with the Commission for Behavioral Health before us. We're new in this relationship. And I know from speaking to so many that the tenets of being a grantee is really partnership. And I just want to say thank you to all the grant monitors for really embodying the spirit of partnership and helping us steward the work. So thank you, team. Okay, we're moving fully into winding down. We have one more announcement round from the TCTs, one more announcement from me, and then we end with a little, So I'm gonna hand it to Sarah, and then Sarah will hand it back.
Yes, thank you. I just want to take a moment to encourage you all to, sometimes when we think about technical assistance, it feels like it's got to be really planned out and it's got to have all of this, got to have everything ready to come to the table. But I want to encourage us to maybe just use this tool differently. And so go to the Web Hub, hit that button. I think of us as thought partners also, just to when you get stuck, if there's something you want to run by us, and really just lean into this opportunity for us to really bring learning it together. And don't feel like it has to be a well thought out. There's like one more thing to do. Just please lean in to taking a part of this TCT opportunity in a variety of different ways. And we're just here to help support you in the work that you're doing. And so we just look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Imperial and Placer and Tehama, for offering peer support, and really want to underscore again the TA request form. And Sarah also named our BHSSA Grantee Hub. We want to let you know that we have, as many of you know, we created a hub on a platform called the Mighty Networks that is just for BHSSA grantees. I'm trying to move ahead so I can find, well, that will be later. But the hub is on a platform called the Mighty Networks, and that is where you can access resources that Tina Rocha is curating, and you can chat with fellow grantees, you can contact us, you can get all of the recordings. So the hub is in the chat, and we really recommend that you and any BHSSA partner access the hub and join us in online community. I'm going to offer a couple more ways for us to be in community between now and December 3rd, which is our next grantee call. And this will all go out in a follow-up email and also be up on the hub. So if any of you are like, I am information saturated, Leora, totally get you. And want to offer this also in audio in case folks are audio learners along with the visual. Okay. Wanting to offer that on October 7th, Michael Lombardo, California's uncle of school mental health. Where is Uncle? That's what I think that his title should be. I mean, we could do a whole other like icebreaker, how 6 connections to Michael Lombardo, how do you know him, how have we been learning with him? But Mike Lombardo will be leading a session on billing and bridging, strengthening cross-sector partnerships. That's on the 7th. So please join us. Tina and Angela on the 2nd will be leading a learning space from the California Suicide Prevention Resource Network that we just ran with 9 counties. Tina's going to correct me, the number of counties across California. Speaking of Suicide Prevention Month, we know it doesn't just happen in September, so that session is in December. We will see you on the 3rd. That is Wednesday, December 3rd. Missing the date, but it is December 3rd, 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, same time, same place. We'll see you on the 3rd. And then the last series that's happening this semester, if you are a grantee that is sunsetting your work, either starting to, right, because 2026 is coming in January, or you're kind of thinking about what will be coming ahead, Tina and Angela will be leading a whole series in October and November on sunsetting our work together. So that is something to take to look out for. And then the other piece is that we have 3 communities of practice. Phase 4 are, as you know, because we just completed our Sunrising Our Work series. So phase 4 grantees for universal screening, for Promise, and for sustainability, we have our learning collaboratives and communities of practice launching. So universal screening grantees, our welcome and orientation with me and Tina is this coming Tuesday. And the other 2 start in October. So please make sure that you're signed up and we get to see you on 9/9. Hopefully it's at, oh, it would have been so good if we had programmed at 9/9 at 9, but I was not smart enough. It's 9/9 at 10. That's coming this Tuesday. Okay. And we're so excited that on June 4th, Placer, Tina, Christina, and Ali and Rio presented on the Interconnected Systems Framework. They spent the last couple months putting their reflections of what it took for Placer to implement and adopt and embrace the Interconnected Systems Framework into practice. And so we're happy to share with you in chat our first peer perspectives issue. That is led by the Placer team and written by the Placer team that will go in the chat. And Rio, Christina, and Ali from Placer are going to be leading 2 pop-ups. If any of you are like, wait, what? ISF? I forget what that is. It's coming my way. I remember I was so excited about it. So 2 pop-ups next Friday, the 12th, one at 8 a.m. for those of you who love an 8 a.m. pop-up, and then 1 at 2. So Nikki will be putting that in the chat. Sarah and Janelle from Tehama will be writing a peer perspectives on today's conversation on data-driven storytelling. So that will be ways that we can extend the work. Okay. I'm going to just move through this because you'll get this in the newsletter. I already talked about the hub. I am going to drop our feedback form. We were going to take time for folks to fill it out today, but I think we might be oversaturated in the fill out of the form feelings for today. So we're going to ask you to please take a moment in the next week, perhaps alongside the West Ed form, a double form moment, and let us know how today felt for you, especially giving feedback to Janelle and Sarah, positive and supportive feedback so that our peers can get words of reception. It's so vulnerable to put out teaching in the world. So we want to make sure that we hear you and we know how these calls are going and that we can also make them better for December. Okay. Y'all. Last. Great leaders are great storytellers. All of you are great leaders. We're all working on becoming great storytellers. Many of you know that we love to end with a good poem to hold us in and hold us down. So I'm gonna see if, let's see, Amy, would you be open to unmuting and reading To the Longleaf Pine? And this was in light of thinking about what I wanted to hold on from this weekend, which were the beautiful trees, and many of us live alongside such gorgeous trees. So Amy, To the Longleaf Pine.
To the longleaf pine. There are parts of who you are that you may believe only exist in fragments. A taproot growing straight down, clustered needles staying low, close to the ground, as if they belong to different timelines. And in each of those timelines, no one told you how long emergence would take. But as the years go on, somehow you still end up rising from the forest floor, even without yet knowing how your new shape will hold. Slowly but surely, the sky stretches wide above you, and everything within you begins to see it is not too late to embrace the possibility of who you could be.
Thank you, Amy. May these next couple months between September and our next quarterly call in December be expansive, be full of imaginative and inquiry-full storytelling, narratives, more than numbers. We're here for you. Let's be here for each other, and we'll see you soon. Thank you all, and take really, really good care.